Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve the Breach coming to you here today. One of the rumors that is out today is that Jushin Thunder Liger is going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I honestly think that the Bellas twins rumor is true. I'm not 100% believing in this Jushin Thunder Liger thing. He just retired from wrestling. Yes, it would be a great honor for Liger to be put into the Hall of Fame. But the one thing that I'm thinking of, this is a guy that only wrestled one match in the WWE, and it wasn't even on the main roster. It was in NXT, wrestling a match against Tyler Breeze. Jushin Thunder Liger going into the WWE Hall of Fame before he goes into, I don't even know if they have a New Japan Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But it would be, one of the highest honors for a wrestler that is out there. I know that Liger is sort of looked at as like a real big legend, and I can honestly tell you that I've only probably seen a handful of matches from this guy. But the one thing I know about this is that, for a few years now, I've been wondering why they haven't put the Great Muta in the Hall of Fame, because of the fact that when WCW or the NWA, whatever you want to think about it, when they had an agreement with New Japan Pro Wrestling and they were bringing over people like the Great Muta or just Jushin Thunder Liger, they put them over in these great ways that made them look like a big part of the company. The Great Muta had a huge feud with Sting, and looked like somebody that really could take Sting out and be a believable heel. Jushin Thunder Liger came in, bringing a new style of wrestling, had some really, really great matches with Brian Pillman. They had a really good match on, I think it was a Great American Bash match, but I'm not 100% sure. And that match was so good that when WCW Nitro launched, of course, the show that was from the Mall of America, the very first match that they put in the ring to show that they were bringing a new style of wrestling that wasn't just going to be the plain Jane, star versus the jobbers like Monday Night Raw was portraying at the time. They did Liger versus Pillman again, and it was a very, very fun, fast action match to kick off the show to show you they weren't messing around. That first match ended up being Pillman versus Liger at Super Brawl 2. I believe that was in 1992 from looking at Wikipedia. But I'm also trying to talk and read at the same time, so I don't know if it launches up. But Liger is a guy that wrestled for, honestly, just about every company that there was in the world. He only wrestled the one match for WWE. Let me say this, because I don't know if we'll ever get a chance to talk about this again. In the years before 1996, when the NWO took over, maybe it's the Eric Bischoff era, when they would bring in Japanese stars and highlight them as a part of their talent exchange, they made these guys look like the best wrestlers in the world. When guys came over, whether if it's Chono or whether it's the Muta was one of those guys also. When the NWO Japan came over, they made those guys, they talked them up like they were a big deal. But as a guy sitting on my couch not knowing a lot about Japanese wrestling other than, the NWO had their own faction over there, I didn't really know much about it. Those guys looked like nobodies. No big deal. Take a loss, head on back home, cash your paycheck, and that's all it. But, they used to make those guys look really, really special, even if they were only coming in for one show or, a 1 month run as a part of some sort of a deal. They made it worth their while that they were on television. I'm not 100% sure on it. If Muta goes into the Hall of Fame, I'm not going to stand up in my chair and boo and say this doesn't make sense. He deserves it. If you ask the people that are on the main roster today, especially the guys that wrestle for 205 Live, I'm sure a lot of them grew up watching Liger on tapes, and he's one of the guys that they hoped that they could achieve to be. So I think that he deserves to be there. To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense that he's going in here before he goes in Japan, where they've done it. But, if they invite him over, I'm sure he's not going to turn it down.